Welcome back into the garden today. Today I'm going to do something I promised to do a couple weeks ago. Someone wrote back and said, you told us you had more than one guide. And I have Addie, who's a guide, and I told the story in Ghosts and Guides how I found Addie. Well, after I'd found Addie, I decided one day to see if I could, because I always sense there was another energy around. So I decided to do some automatic writing. And if you want to learn about automatic writing or speaking with your angels or finding your guides, this is an incredible book. It's called Angelspeake, and it's got the E on the end of the speak. And it's how to talk to your angels. And I'll put below here how to find the book, where the authors and things for this book. Anyway, I just finished reading it, and I was reading about, just relax, kind of close your eyes, put a piece of paper in front of you with a pen in your hand, a little pen in your hand. And so I just said, okay, I know about Addie. Do I have another guide? And the first word that came out was Frank. And that was kind of funny because a couple of years ago when my grandson was being a grandson and I was down visiting them in Austin, he said he has two grandmothers, and the other grandmothers, I think they call her Boba or Bubba or something like that. And so he decided that was the word for grandmother, and I said, no, I'm grandma. And he went, no, and then he'd come in the room and he'd call me the other name and I wouldn't respond, and he goes, I'm talking to you. And I said, I'm a grandma. And he didn't get the hint about halfway through the day. So finally I said to his little sister, I said, where's Frank? She goes, who's Frank? I said, Frank's the other guy in this house. Where's Frank? And he would come screaming around the corner, my name's not Frank. Well, after about an hour of him being called Frank instead of his name, he decided maybe I was grandma. And my son has since told me that is so helpful when the kids talk about grandma and the other grandmother, because then they can keep it totally straight because there's no confusion. So, and my son said the other thing he found out about Frank was when he wanted to distract his daughter so he could get something done, he was a stay-at-home dad at that point. If he wanted to get something done, he'd go find Frank. And she'd look all over the house for Frank. Well, about 6 months later, I found out, I did have a Frank with me. And I did some more writing about him. And his last earthly incarnation, he came over with a bunch of people from Albania in the 1800s, when people were coming out of the Mediterranean area and to the US. And he ended up living in 5 Points in New York. And I wondered, because when I spent 6 weeks on job training in New York, and one weekend I was totally on my own, and I went and I got a walking tour. I did a walking tour, self-guided walking tour of New York. And I walked through all these areas of New York that people later told me, you walked where? Of course, I just didn't know. I just walked there. And one of the areas was where he had been. So I think Frank guided my feet to go see his old digs. But I've never seen Frank's face. I've seen Addie's face, and I talk to Addie, and I'll talk to Frank, but he's very quiet. And so I've never known much about him, except that I know he's there, and I know there's a sense of protection around him. He's a protective spirit for me. And then one day I was looking at some political corruption scandal or another, and there was a story about how these politicians had gotten money and then the price it had cost them for that money. There was a reader who had talked about it. Well, that night I went to bed and I had a dream that I was standing in a hallway with these national politicians, and they were being handed 3 gold coins, and then they were walking down this dark hallway and they just seemed to disappear. And I was kind of curious. I wonder where they're going. So I tried to walk down the hallway, and all of a sudden a back of a man was in front of me with an old-timey leather coat on. And he said, stop. You're not going down that hallway. And I said, oh. Well. And then he said, we protected you from getting involved in those sorts of things when you worked in politics. We're not going to let you go to that energy now. So I woke up very seriously understanding I don't need to go know what's going on at the end of that hallway. I'll find out if I need to find out. So that's Frank. And he's, I think he has a pretty good sense of humor about things, but I have all my life felt like there is a hand in front of me at times that said, don't go here, stop. And that's my Frank. So how do you find your Frank or your Addie? You can think about it. They can let themselves be known with synchronicities, or all of a sudden seeing a name a lot, or hearing a name a lot, or you can try the trick I did, the automatic writing from the book Angelspeake. And, you know, I was in my late 60s before I even knew what Addie's name was. And I was 70 when I found out who Frank was. So it's, you can function quite nicely without knowing this stuff, but for me, it's kind of fun and curious, and it's helpful. And I feel like for me, remember, my word for this year is flow. I'm trying to get with the flow. And part of the flow was learning that these these energies were around me and that they could help me. And they are the ones who told me to take down the wall and build a garden. They're very efficient messengers. And I think, I have people all the time ask me when I do readings, well, what's my guide's name, or what's my angel's name, or, my guardian angel's name. And I think it's interesting if you can figure it out for yourself too, and just try it out and see what happens. I'll be interested to hear what you have to say about it. So today I pulled a card when I knew I was going to talk about Frank. And of course I pulled from my inner child cards to find my thing about Frank. And I got, the Three of Crystals. And the Three of Crystals talks about how jumping rope is just a marvelous thing we do as children. And we learn how to take turns. We learn how to take the passive role. We learn how to be the active little jumper in the middle. And 3 represents group activities, communication, and joy. And I thought that was fun that I pulled that card. And it says, when the Three of Crystals appears in your reading, it may be time for you to redefine your purpose in a community and joyfully share the wisdom and gifts you have to offer. Join groups, get to know families and children in your neighborhood. This was obviously written pre-COVID. Do what you can do. Share life with like-minded individuals who cherish and respect your view of life. If you have not found your group or special group of friends, now would be a fruitful time to deepen your inner joy by strengthening your own self-confidence and personal resources. But above all, remember to go play. So I guess I'm asking you to go play with some automatic writing today or soon. Think about it. It's really a lot of fun. There's a lot of other stuff in Angelspeake that I'll talk about later dates, but there's a lot about writing intentions lists and working with all that material. But anyway, I'm going with the flow. I'm going to reach out to the community. I'm going to try to broaden my sense in community. I'm here for you. If you want to know more about this, you can contact me, write me comments and questions. And I don't have a I don't have a crystal of today for today, but I do have, tomorrow I'm going to be going over the 9 crystals for calm and peace, because I think we could all use a little bit more of that right now. Anyway, take care. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye.